A very good morning to you, and thanks for joining us on yet another edition of Political Spectrum. It's live on Spectrum Television. I am Raymond Ita. We're dwelling on controversies from home today as Position State Center for Human Rights and Accountability Network, CRAN, has said that the proposed new map initiative for Akwa Ibom State would clearly minimize unnecessary amongst different stakeholders meeting, which took place at the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, which was tagged a bill for a law to provide for a map for in 1987. And he commended the sponsors of the bill, describing it as a welcome development for the state. However, there are some quarters in the state who are largely dissatisfied with the moves made by the Akwa Ibom in the state. How true are those claims? Franklin Song will be joining us after this timeout to bear his thoughts on an issue that is gradually becoming contentious. This is Political Spectrum. Stay with us. We'll be right back shortly.
One truth not often told is about the transformation African picture, the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa.
Of these relationships determines how well people, relationships, organizations thrive and how long. 2:30 to 3 p.m. on channel 421 on Star Times to catch all the conversations, interviews, real stories on Spectrum Television.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on Star Times DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 127.
And the common Nigerian. From issues on politics,
hello Nigeria, I remain committed.
security, Room and Uyai Anyekan every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage, investment, and so much more. Advertise on Spectrum Television, on Star Times DTH Channel 421 and welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Your watch States Coordinator of CRAN, that's the Center for Human Rights Accountability Network, for a bill for a law to provide for a map for the state and other matters connected to local government and chieftaincy affairs. And in his opening remark, the chairman of the Joint Committee to arrest every boundary dispute in the state. And his stance was also corroborated by the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Frank, mete out injustice or injury to anyone or a group. Well, there are several other persons who made their presentations who have also lent their voices to what they think about these moves, with some of them saying it will provide ruler's counsel. And Tenyon Dr. Solomon Etuk, who was also a part of the public hearing, said the map, when done, will bring lasting peace. And from Franklin Isong, whom will be joining in a short while, also said when given adequate attention, the State House of Assembly in this regard, with some persons saying this is just a grand scheme to actually lands could be taken from them and given to other parts of the state, especially states that do not have people of Eastern Obolo or the Ebola extraction, as it were, as well as some persons in Oron extraction also claiming that this matter severely, and they have taken the Akwa Ibom State government and the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly matter related to boundaries should be the wherewithal of the National Assembly and not the state assemblies. So it's pretty clear that this bill of assembly and it's already garnering a lot of contentious reactions. So how far will it be tenable that we have something of this nature on ground, so it will forestall future attacks? Luckily, do not yield the result that is being expected. The Deputy Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Obam Moses, addressing the rifts between warring communities over the years in the state. Most of them have been engaged in a series of clashes that has ruined communities, leading to lots of lives, burning of houses and properties, and what have you. We cannot allow this spate of violence to us, that this could just be a scheme to steal land and bite away with a Twickham Franklin Isong as the state coordinator of CRAN. He was at the public hearing and also gave a store passy occasioned by a communal crisis around pieces of land in the Akwa Ibom State over the years, and also bounce off all of that and more coming up after this very short break. Don't go anywhere. DTH Channel 421 and reach out to us via our socials for live feeds. Head to our YouTube channel where you can subscribe for more. We've been joined now, brings us live virtually on the show. A very good morning to you and thanks for joining us today. Some could say that's an understatement, but the backlash of responses most persons have given to the provide for a map for the state and other matters connected therewith has generated heated controversy already. Before we come, the successes or the benefits that it hopes to get in the long term, because some persons are just getting originating concerns shortly after that hearing seems to have overshadowed what will have been the benefits accrued to have
use this platform to also disabuse the minds of those. The state is peaceful. Before coming here, and I can tell you there is no fire anywhere. What is the intention of the bill that the Center for Human Rights participated in?
Issues connecting with you, Franklin, but I think we do have you back. Please go ahead. Very short while. We apologize for the quality of the network we've been talking to, and please do go ahead.
Okay, so I have a copy of the bill with me on page 2 and page 3, and it has to establish a map for Akwa Ibom State, an official map. Let me just read through the, and it says there is hereby established for the proper delineation, says production of official map of the state. Subsection 1 to produce an official map of the state which shall clearly define the government areas in line with the provisions of section 3. Okay, subsection 2 still says of Akwa Ibom State. Now, section 3 of the bill says official map of the state. The map produced by the Secretary General of the state and contained in Schedule 1. The question here is that there is no map for Akwa Ibom State. There is no gazetted day of September 19 87. And so, even where you are even showing the offices that are allocated and how they are seeking to empower the Secretary General of the state to go ahead and produce official map for Akwa Ibom. Speculation is people believing that there is existing map. If there were to be a map in the state, what this bill would have sought to do would have been to repeal in Akwa Ibom state. This bill is seeking to empower the Secretary General of the state to go ahead and give the state a map.
Statement issued by your organization shortly after that public hearing, and you posited with the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is the concerns that have been raised by some courts with that information, because over the years we've always seen something that seemingly looks like the map of a concerns raised by some persons here, including some communities, and we've seen press releases to that effect. Some persons within the state to tap into their own resources for the benefits of other areas in the state. Now, to take land from another area for the benefits of another.
Inform the public on what they are doing, not my own duty. I'm only speaking information unit. They will do that. But for what I know, I can tell you for sure that in the history of another law that will come up to say this particular bill, and so because there is no existing law, that is to say there is no existing map of the state, record of the government of the state. So because there is no such record wheresoever provide for the map of Akwa Ibom state. And so I think that is to take from villages or local government into another local government, or the 3 pages that we have seen. It has 6 sections and is very clear about what it seeks to do. Now, having said that, all the local government areas of the state, at the public forum that we have, Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly, Right Honorable Princess Felicia Basi, who is from Okobo, in Oro local government area. The bill, the co-sponsor of the bill, has Right Honorable Udokiri and Atam as the leader of the House. From Honorable Nte Esien, Deputy Chief Whip, you have Right Honorable Mark Eset from Tretai, you have Honorable Victor Ekwere from Parende Ubion, you have Honorable Godwin Ekpo from Ibionibom, you have Honorable Kupre Abasi Eriden from Itu, the ethnic groups in the state. Now, if the bill is seeking to remove villages from a particular area, I have read a report, even at the forum, even at the stakeholders forum, my friend, there is an attempt to take from oil blocks, to take from communities in Mbo, in Oro Nation, to add in where, and she is from Okobo. Okobo is in Oro Nation. Could she have accepted that? I think people are just trying to misinform the public. If the bill has nothing whatsoever to do with the state, with our boundaries clearly defined.
Interestingly, can all of this be had this image of what we thought was the map of Akwa Ibom state on our minds, which is somewhat most of their state functions. So why come up with this policy as at now? That's the issue here. I remember when I spoke to you off the air yesterday, I raised, and secondly, what's the position of the National Assembly on this? Can the State Assembly gazette or have a map? Go ahead, Mr. Franklin.
Why now, as in the state has ended? Why now, as in the people of the state are no more living in the state?
At the time where we're having contentious issues are Ebola people, and this is what he said, that he feels this will allow the people of Odo. How do you think people from that extraction will react?
Access for the people of Ona to the seashore, like we speak, and the people of Ibaka. Until when there is no map for the state, it becomes pretty difficult to talk about boundaries. So for me, and the rest.
Interesting. Let's move away. There with. So far, so good. The controversy that has been generated from this public hearing, perhaps if we get to know one or two of them, it might give us an understanding of what the entirety of this bill is.
And stakeholders made their memo, presented, and made their position. This bill is seeking to empower the Secretary General of the state in line with Section 8 of in line with the Constitution. I do not see any conflict. I do not see any crisis arising therefrom. What I think should now begin to store the villages, store the clans and local government. I think she will have a checklist that will also guide her in being able to determine the boundary between one community and so at that point, having visited all the villages in the state and all the areas where you have dispute, the map of the state, which will now be officially being gazetted by the state government. There is no, I would like to see it. So, since there is no map, the only way we can have a map is to have a bill passed into law. You can see the ancestral landmarks, see what boundaries they have, and then be able to come up with a map of the state. So no other issue was discussed for Akwa Ibom State.
Okay, interesting. I know I did ask earlier, or I did mention earlier, material. I did make reference to the fact that successive governments over the years have actually, made use of what we all should out from the Akwa Ibom State government, using logos and insignias that purportedly captures. Should the State House of Assembly go through with this bill to have a map gazetted for Akwa Ibom State? Is it going to be, and in what ways? And you would agree with me, if there are one or two tweaks to the already existing structures, that is the aim.
To our viewers, it is not the duty of the state to demarcate interstate you have, earlier posited. What we have in the map that shows local government, you see that represent the state map,
right,
from what you carve out from the Nigerian map. And so it is the demarcate, delineate, defined boundaries within the state. And then come up and say this is it. And don't forget that interstate dispute, interstate boundary dispute is handled. They come to the state, they expect the state to have their own map. State map. So when, like for example, you have a crisis between the one that is internally caused crisis by the boundary issues, the commission ought to be working with, ought to be the state map given to them by the Secretary General of the state. They chair the committee and try to resolve it. It becomes difficult to resolve those issues because there is no official map. Only measures for peace to return, and which is to set in the security men to maintain law and order in those areas. And the next village, there will always be conflict, even in future. So what I think is going to be used as the basis of giving a community a boundary between the other community, this is what I expect us to be discussing with the general now commence the duty of giving us a map. She would now have to lead a team to visit communities, the number of population in those communities. It will help in development of the area. It will help in fighting of area crisis that has been lingering in communities because of boundary disputes. So I think that this bill is, I do not see or buy into the argument that this bill is coming out now because do we have a map? If we have a map for the state, where is the map? Let us see it. And if there is a map coming up with a private member bill to empower the Secretary General to create a there's no one in the history of Akwa Ibom State for over 56 years going. So the question of why now shouldn't arise. What should
before the horse? or the horse before the cat with reference to what you said about allowing the...
No, I said the bill is talking about the office of the Secretary General. Secretary General of the bill is seeking to do, to ask the Secretary General to give us a map by be able to delineate things that will be used. If, for instance, you have communal crisis in within Mbo, that is the boundary. So these are simple things. It's very simple.
So what role episode? Well, we know it was a good step that you were there at the public hearing to get first-hand information on all of this, and I'm very sure our representatives at the State House of Assembly, handle this issue on their own. There has to be a somewhat third party or explain that they expect, especially communities that have raised concerns, and rightly so, about the true intention behind having them.
That is the crown, is to monitor the process, like you have rightly said, is to ensure that no community is shortchanged. It's not it's not crooked. When there will be, I believe that the office of the general will appreciate, like I'm doing. If I wasn't in the House of Assembly to participate in the stakeholders meeting, I wouldn't have the tongue in the process, and then we would be able to watch and watch what is done and ensure that the process is free, fair. I think will be our role if we are, carried along in the process. Now, suppose they refuse to carry us along, and be able to advise and be able to communicate the right messages to the public and to the members of the various.
The events of Tuesday suffice.
Well, the bill will be presented to all stakeholders. The next step will be the House, when they reconvene, they will receive the bill to the committee of the whole, and thereafter, if the bill passes through the third reading, it will now be forwarded by the law to go out and be able to come out with a map that will be called the map of Akwa Ibom State.
Giving us first-hand clarification on all of these issues. Thank you so very much.
My pleasure always.
Here in Akwa Ibom State too, where had the public hearing organized by the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly on Tuesday for the people of Akwa Ibom State. So while there have been burgeoning benefits on the line as to what this bill would likely have been raised by some quarters, most of them feel that this is just a continuation of the discussions we've had will not completely assuage how they feel about the entirety of this bill, and it is presented to court because they feel this bill will more or less shortchange them and have parts of their respective communities ceded to other areas in the proposed remapping of the state. And they've also said that the State Surveyor General has been manned the Obolo people through the Secretary General of the Ilima, which is a social-cultural organization of what he called the original map of Akwa Ibom State. Places like Ona and Padanen, Ikorabasi local Atlantic Ocean, I did raise that point to Mr. Franklin a short while ago, and this would ordinarily not be a problem, except for the fact that they are considering a natural resource of a particular area to another. Well, I've spoken to quite a number of persons about this, and quite clearly, opinion is the why I asked if we're going to be having another hearing, or we're just going to do with the first one we had on Tuesday. Well, surely it will not go and interface with each other if their issues are not thoroughly and properly addressed. So the one input out there, we're not seeing the last of this, but it's a matter we'll do well to revisit as always. Well, that will be when next we do well to come your way for another edition of Politics. Raymond, Ita, and the rest of the crew. Thanks for watching.